please welcome Kelly Ludwig.
First of all, I just want to say thank you, funny enough, to John, Christine, the team for having me here tonight. This is like a really cool space, and I always feel like a cool kid when I come here. So thank you, and I want to thank you guys for coming here too. You could be watching Netflix right now, so I appreciate it. Okay, I'm just going to get stuck into it. Can I get a show of hands? Who likes to receive a gift? Yeah, pretty much everybody. Okay, of those people who didn't put up their hands, show of hands if you have no intention of putting up your hands for anything tonight. Oh, well, geez, we're nobody. Awesome. Okay, I want to start by talking about finding new customers. I think for a lot of small to medium businesses, this is a massive problem that you would all experience. And to be honest with you, it's probably the big difference between small and large business. Large businesses have already figured out that magical formula for finding new customers, whereas small businesses tend to struggle a lot with that. And understandably, I mean, unless you have a professional like, say, Tanya working with you who helps you with the advertising side of things, it's really hard to find advertising that works. Sure, it's getting cheaper. People say it costs a couple of dollars to get to thousands of people, but finding something that actually generates new customers, converts into sales is really tricky. And I've gone through the process. You submit an ad, say to Google AdWords, you trial it, you test it, you adjust it, and you resubmit again. You go over and over and over and over. And to be honest with you, a lot of small businesses don't necessarily have the deep pockets to fund that sort of quest. So if you've ever experienced that, it's painful, and I feel your pain. Additionally, you can look at, say, content marketing, which is massive at the moment. Everybody's doing it. And I think James made a really good point before. It has to be quality, but I don't know if you've seen, I've seen people submit articles on LinkedIn, 3 or 4 a day, and you're like, holy shit, how do you have time to even work? And then you actually click on one of these articles, and it's like a complete waste of your life, and you're like, there is no substance in this stuff. And I'm like, I know, I get it from a search engine optimization point of view, I get it's supposed to drive traffic, but if I got onto your page and I saw that shit article, I can tell you now I would not be purchasing from you. I mean, I'm being completely honest. So what I want to do is introduce you to I can't say it's a new strategy. It's pretty damn old. It's common sense. It's just not that commonplace anymore. And it's all about increasing your referral-based business. Now, I think you'd agree that referrals are kind of awesome, right? They come with so much more credibility. You have a much greater chance of converting them. So that being the case, it kind of makes sense that you invest in a strategy that helps you build more of them, right? It's logical. That's where appreciation comes into it. Now, I know a lot of you go, oh my God, appreciation, right? It's so emotional, airy-fairy bullshit, not into it. But 70% of buying decisions are emotional. So if you kind of choose to ignore this emotional stuff because you think it's airy-fairy bullshit, you're really doing it at your own peril, because that 70% rule also applies to business and business to consumer, okay? So this is a really big thing. People buy from people that they like. Nobody wants to buy from a douchebag. But it's... I'm speaking completely honest here. Yeah. So what you want to do, I think you find a lot of love. You inject a lot of love into a customer right at the beginning of the relationship. You win them, they're awesome. But then what tends to happen is, and when the project comes to an end, everybody's happy and they start referring you, and you're like, oh my God, these guys are awesome, this is great. But then the referrals start to drop off, and you're like, what happened to those guys? We did an awesome job for them. Why aren't they referring us anymore? Well, it's probably because you stopped being top of mind. They've forgotten about you. There's this little saying that says if you want a customer to care about you, then first you have to show that you care about them. That goes well and truly past the relationship, or the initial transactional project that you're working on. Have you ever heard that saying? It's from the old Cheers jingle. Sometimes you want to go where people know your name and people are glad you came. Okay, this is what we're talking about. You want to increase your likability. Okay, and unfortunately, buying gifts kind of helps that. But you don't have to spend a lot of money, and I'll get into that in a second. Okay, so we want to maximise the positive interactions that you have throughout the entire process and post-sale. especially the unexpected ones. Now, you know, I heard James talking about content marketing. It is super important, I get that. But that stuff is all about you. What you want to do is try and increase the interactions where you're letting that customer know that you actually still care about them. Okay, that's the unexpected stuff. And, you know, saying something like happy birthday on their birthday means the world to somebody who hasn't heard from you for a while. And goes, oh, wow, they still really care about me. So I want to reinforce the importance of increasing those interactions and doing stuff creatively too. Like, okay, here's some really cool ideas. You could say if you're working with a client who's just doing epic stuff or is achieving awesome things, why not recommend them for a business award? Like, that's a massive compliment. It doesn't cost you any money to do that, but it keeps you top of mind and it makes that person think, wow, they really like what I do. You could also follow them on social media. I forgot to mention that. If you want them to be a raving fan of you, well, then you kind of need to be their fan first. Okay, so it's really important, and I'll explain in a moment where you can really use that information. You've got to start mixing business with pleasure, okay? I think you'll all agree we kind of blend the two these days. But you need to find out about your customer. You need to find out, you know, where they like to eat, what their favourite poison is, you know, how many kids they have, what do they do for hobbies. All of this shows that you are interested in them, okay? And it actually helps you do your job better too when you know them better. So that's really, really important. The other reason why you want to talk about or find out all this sort of information about them is because you want to reinforce later on down the track that you were listening to them, okay? If you're listening to them, you can then send them some really awesome, clever gifts that help you to reinforce that you're actually listening to them. And this stuff makes a massive difference, so you'll blow their mind. So when I want to talk about gifting, because that's what I do, that's like my specialty, yes, you have to think more. Now, I've been talking about clients, but for God's sake, don't forget about all the other important relationships in your business dealings. I mean, I give my courier so many treats all the time because when shit goes down and I need him to come back and pick up a parcel urgently, he will do that because he loves me, because I show him so much love. So it's all about, you know, showing people that make a difference to you, showing them appreciation. And of course, recognize them for things that are not just about you, what we were talking about before. So, you know, you discover, I don't know, let's say they have a new baby. You can send out a gift for their baby, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And I'll go back to why it doesn't have to be expensive if you make it clever in a moment. You should be recognising, like, if they get nominated for an award or if they move into a new premises. Like, these are all important milestones that are important to them that you have an opportunity to recognise, and it will make a big difference when you do. Okay, now, well, there's a few, I guess, tricks to gifting. First of all, you have to respond quickly. It would be totally in bad taste if you were to send something, you know, 6 weeks after the date. So once you hear about it, do it straight away, okay? Unexpectedly. This is really important. And the fact that you're sending gifts as a business is already pretty epic stuff, okay? Nobody expects it. I will say, try to avoid spending all your dollars at Christmas time. It's like the worst time to give gifts. If you ever notice, like, you'll, first of all, you have to give a pretty big gift to make a massive impact because everybody else is sending gifts at that same time. But also you find, once you get into the new year, you kind of forgot what happened last year. It's like, so last year. So I would try to spread your gifting out. And your goal is to keep top of mind, right? So you're constantly sending them out little things every now and again just to acknowledge that you're paying attention to them. Well, you don't have to spend much, like $20, $25, that's all you need to spend. You don't have to go nuts. And the most important thing is sending it from the heart. If you were to send a birthday card to somebody, okay, simple birthday card, wishing them a happy birthday, and then you put down, you know, the bottom, P.S., greatest compliment I can receive is a warm referral. Okay, dude, you can't polish a turd. Like, they totally know what you're trying to do. What you have to believe in is this theory of recognition. I can tell you now, it's actually not even theory. Wikipedia calls it a social rule, okay? If somebody does something genuinely nice for you, it's more likely that they'll want to do something nice to you. And they've done studies in it to the point where if even if you don't like that person and they do something nice for you, you'll feel compelled to want to, you know, give something back in some way, shape and form. And often it's more than what they originally had given to you. So this is what you need to keep in mind when you're doing everything. It will come back. It will come back. And I'm going to give you some examples. Now, when I talk about you don't have to spend too much money, You need to focus on the message. The message is the most important thing, not actually the gift. The gift should actually back up the message. And I'm going to, when I talk about the message, you need to keep it simple, clever, and buzz-free. Now, when I say simple, pick one gift, okay? I know gift hampers are huge. It's great if you do them, but they feel, no offense if anybody's a gift hamper person here tonight, shit. Don't give a bunch of crap. You only need to give one single thing, okay? One thing that communicates your message in an epic way. Keep it clever. Link the message with the gift. I'm going to give you examples of that in a moment, so just hang tight. And buzz-free. For God's sake, don't... look, you know what? I'm just going to run to this example that I'll show you. Okay, so somebody placed an order on my website it was a packet of minties. Don't freak out. They look epic. Okay, and this is what the message says. We want to send you a small gift to say congratulations for working with the team. We're pumped for the project and look forward to building a mutually beneficial long-term relationship. Thanks. Okay, and if some of you are going, well, that's not that bad, I can tell you now, it's bad. Okay, we wanted to send a small gift. Don't tell them you wanted to send a small gift. Remember, it's not about the gift. The gift is going to back up the message, okay? Really important. And they've got to say congratulations for working with the team. That's really arrogant. You need to say thank you for choosing to do business with you, not congratulations. We're pumped for the project. I should add, this was an extremely conservative company. So pumped for the project. I'm all about breaking down barriers, but that's probably a little too far. You don't want to be like a 17-year-old texting somebody. And looking forward to building a mutually beneficial long-term relationship. What the buzzwords, okay? As soon as you start using them, you lose sincerity, okay? So this is how, we talk about doing unexpected things. So being a website, an e-commerce website, you place an order, get in, get out. Most of the time, people don't expect me to communicate with customers on a one-on-one basis. So I try to make an effort when somebody makes a freaking terrible error like this. I make an effort to try and fix it for them. I run it by them, obviously, but I try to educate them. See, here we've not all the time, no promises, man. Just laying it out there. I do my best. Okay, so this is how we changed it. Thanks for choosing to work with us. We're excited to bring a fresh approach to the way you communicate your business. Look forward to working together. Really simple, but it backs up the minties. And you notice now the minties are not you don't want to say I'm sending a small gift. Yeah, of course it's a small gift, stating the obvious. But the fact that you're saying bring a fresh approach, you've just turned a very small gesture into something really clever. Now, most of you want to be perceived as being clever out there, right? And that goes right through. If you look at Depot, what they do, my friend here tonight said, these guys are just accountants. They're obviously doing things pretty clever, right? So this needs to go the same with gifting. And I want to finish up. This is sort of it's kind of looks better on that screen. There's lots more contrast. Okay, so I just want to quickly, I know, look around to that one. Okay, so this is something that's it's an example of how the food comes packaged. Obviously, it says food for thought. But why I wanted to finish on this one. This one says, from the heart, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Vanessa. Obviously, there's hearts inside. I want to give you a little story about how this can work so well. This happened to me just a couple of weeks ago, so I'm pretty pumped about it. I sent, I'll start from the beginning. My husband and I are celebrating our wedding anniversary, and he was going to be down in Melbourne, and quite frankly, I'd completely forgotten about it. And my mum calls me up and goes, oh my God, Kelly, your anniversary is this week. And I'm like, shit. And I knew that my husband wouldn't have remembered it either because it was a crazy week and he was down in Sydney, and I just knew that he wouldn't. So I had to do something kind of cool because that's what I do. And I sent him this box that said, I am fortunate to have you. And inside there were fortune cookies. And I literally ripped out all the freaking personal messages, and I put some naughty messages in there, as you do. And anyway, so I had to send it to the Marriott because that's where he was staying. And I had to contact the Marriott because I don't know if you know about getting things to hotels. There's mail rooms and God knows what. It could get lost. So I spoke to Marriott's Marriott.com, and they then forwarded me to Marriott, the guest recognition guy called Marcos. And he was amazing. Oh my God, was more than happy to do whatever I needed to be done to get the gift there and add lots of finishing touches, which I was completely blown away. End of story, my husband gets a gift, cries, and thinks he's such a dickhead because he forgot about it, and I win this year. And so I thought, oh my God, I have to thank this guy. He did such an epic job in getting the gift to where it needed to be. So I quickly sent something very similar to this. I actually changed the font. I went for like Helvetica because it was like a bit more masculine. And I put Rocky Road in there and I just said, Marcos, you rock. And inside I obviously said, thanks so much for helping me. Like, it was awesome, blah, blah, blah. And he responded back the next day when he received it, like, holy crap, he'd never received anything like this in all his life. And he was ecstatic. You know, he wanted me to come down and stay and they were going to give us this, like, amazing time. I'm like, Jesus, like, I just sent you literally, this is like $22.95 plus shipping. But it was like crazy, right? So then I get a call from the marketing executive because he had been so ecstatic with what had happened. He then showed it to the head marketing executive person, Gabrielle. She contacts me and they've since placed a $1,000 order for these worth your weight in gold boxes, which is what we do. And we're now negotiating a Christmas order, which is like $4,500. Now that came from sending a $20 gift. Like, that is crazy. It is so powerful. And I know a friend over here, Tui, can vouch for, she's a mortgage broker and she can vouch for the same sort of thing. She is a massive fan of appreciation, is totally embracing it. I've got a real estate agent over at Balimba that has stumbled across this probably about 2 years ago, started sending little gifts, and now we've got 18 gifts all in a process that she sends to people at different points in time to help strengthen those relationships. So this stuff does work. And the other thing is, because you're a small, medium-sized business, you still have your finger on the pulse. You're still dealing with people on an everyday basis. You are in the best position. Big companies cannot do this, okay? And it's this emotional stuff is what you need to inject in as many relationships as you possibly can. It will make the difference, I promise you. On that note, I figured I'd end this talk with a thank you, because that's what I do.